What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John and it's time for another episode of Rapid Reviews, the series where I put 60 seconds on the clock and then I tear through my thoughts on new singles, EPs, and album releases. And today we have 14 of those to get through, and that is already cut down from a playing field that I just had to take a sizable chunk out of because it's insane the amount of music that's been coming out in 2019. I cannot keep up with everything, nor do I intend to, because sometimes it just feels like the water is slowly rising further and further above my eyes and head. Look, it might sound crazy, but part of my motto for 2019 has been to listen to less music, and that's been so hard to do, because this is actually going to be one of the most positive episodes of Rapid Reviews that I've ever done. Do me a favor, take just a second and hit that like button. A like goes a long way, and if you happen to be new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the neighborhood. Where have you been? But also, welcome home. Let's start off by talking about the new Grayscale album. NELLA Vita is an interesting album title. I actually like that. When translated, it means in life. This is the new record by Grayscale, a band that really broke onto the scene even more so with their album Adornment. I did enjoy a good chunk of that record, and this new one, NELLA Vita, while it's different, it's still really solid overall. It connects emotionally. I think their vocalist has improved in some ways. I do feel that there's some tracks where it's like, okay, somebody listened to I Like It When You Sleep by the 1975, because this record does have indie pop written all over it in some ways. But then again, there's the more pop-punk influenced tracks like Twilight or even the opening cut Just Right that really get the job done. Now, when I hear those 1975 influences, it's not always a bad thing. It's a little apparent on In My Arms, also Baby Blue, but I do enjoy both of those tracks for what they are. It's a bit inconsistent overall. There's some run-of-the-mill moments like Asbury that try to tug emotionally. I just feel that the closer, like Tommy's Song, is more effective in that regard, but overall, I enjoyed this. A 3.5 for me. You might not want to admit it to yourself, but Bring Me the Horizon's impact continues to be felt on the alternative music scene. Yumi at 6 have dropped a new single, and it's straight out of the Amo by Bring Me the Horizon playbook that dropped earlier in 2019. They've already scooped up that sound and attempted to mold it into their own thing with What's It Like, and the results are very messy. There's a watery-ass repetitive drop on this song that's incredibly irritating. The verses try to really spark up something, but they don't really get much done, and overall, this song just feels awkward to me. A light 2.5 on this one is what I'm feeling. Holy shit, the new Microwave album. This thing is absolutely fantastic, and I am so sorry that I doubted them. The lead single, which is the title track, Death is a Warm Blanket, kind of underwhelmed me at first, but in the context of the record, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. It makes total sense. This record has an impeccable flow to it, every track seamlessly moving into the next. For example, Pull, going into the short track Loves Will Tear Us Apart, aggressive to slow. This is like their brand new Daisy moment right here. It's so fantastic because they can pour on the flames, the gasoline with tracks like Hate TKO, and another one of my top favorite songs of the year, Float to the Top. Oh my god, those meaty guitars are so good. This record has it all. Leather Daddy is the title of a track. Please go show them some love. Much love for this. It's a strong 4.5. Actually, this new Bayside track is already something that I've talked about briefly on an episode of 7 on Sunday, but I had to put it here as well because it's a killer tune. Bayside, this far into their career, continuing to show what they're made of. Anthony Ranieri on this track. Oh my god, the vocals and the deep tuning, just low tuning on the guitars on this one. Jack O'Shea kills it. Prayers is fantastic, both lyrically and musically. A 5 out of 5 for this. Look, I obviously don't cover a ton of rap or hip-hop on my channel, but YBN Cordae's new record is just something that I had to pass on to you guys, especially if you don't know about it already. His debut full-length studio album is called The Lost Boy, and I don't know why I judge just based on the name, because I think of that and I think of like, oh, YMW Nelly or whatever the hell his name is. So I don't care about a lot of these rappers. I listen to them and they sound the same. I made the mistake of judging the book by its cover, and I'm so glad that I gave him a chance. I actually heard Hoodie Allen shout him out in an interview with the Zach Sang Show, and The Lost Boy is fantastic. It's kind of an odyssey, but it's very down-to-earth, inspired by Kendrick Lamar, pretty obviously, but his lyricism is great. I have a feeling that he's only gonna grow because he's only 21 years old at this point. He talks about his grandma a lot, but hey, it's better than Chance the Rapper continuously non-stop talking about his wife, right? Overall for me, The Lost Boy gets a strong 4. 5 Seconds of Summer have certainly bounced back after the super not good track Easier that came out earlier this year with the Charlie Puth sounding vocals, and they even did a remix with him because he produced the track, but they kind of threw that out the window and moved into Teeth, and it was on the 13 Reasons Why Season 3 soundtrack. I really don't care about that. This is apparently going to be on their next record, and I like the fact that they're moving in this industrial pop direction. This song works way better than it has any right to. The vocals are magnetizing, but also, more than anything, the kinetic energy that I feel in the music. It starts off so simple, it continues to build, and then it throws in a guitar moment from Tom Morello at the end. I didn't see that coming, but it totally works, and I'm giving this a strong 4 out of 5. You know, I was pretty skeptical about this new SLEATER-KINNEY record, especially with Janet Weiss departing the band and it's being produced by St. Vincent. Okay, but then I listened to the album and it's not nearly as bad as maybe I expected it to be. I didn't expect it to be awful, but after hearing some of the singles, I just didn't think it was going to be firing on all cylinders. Now, I am glad that Janet drummed on this record. I'm also happy that she's apparently okay and recovering after a car accident, but on this album, The Center Won't Hold, I just feel that they kind of have more of an inconsistent tone. It's not that it's that much worse than No Cities to Love, but still, I just feel that a certain spark or chemistry wasn't quite there in the studio this time around, and as a result, I only have maybe a handful of favorites that I feel like I'll come back to, whereas the last album, you know I was jamming that for years. Overall on this one, 3.5. There's been a lot of disappointed Blink-182 fans this year, and I'm gonna bite my tongue on that for now, but Tom DeLonge, formerly of Blink-182, is back with new music from Angels and Airwaves once again, following up Rebel Girl, which was a very solid track that I did enjoy, and this new song, Kiss and Tell, is one of the best Angels and Airwaves songs that I've heard in a long time now. This has it all. It lays on the guitars a lot thicker. It also has the spacey atmosphere that reminds me of both I, Empire and Love. It's a great feeling to catch on to, and honestly, it is extremely infectious. It can get very predictable in terms of where Tom takes the song both lyrically and musically, but it's kind of a good kind of familiar. So overall, I'm definitely taking it. I'm giving it a 4 personally, and I'm really looking forward to see what this album is going to be next year. Holy shit, Death Cab for Cutie, where was this kind of inspiration on the last record? Not that I didn't enjoy Thank You for Today, but still, this is some of the best work they've laid down in like a decade, since maybe Narrow Stairs, which, oddly enough, the Blue EP, their new release, reminds me a lot of that record. To the Ground, the opening track, genuinely dropped my jaw. This is one of the best alternative rock songs that I've heard in 2019, and it's nice to see Death Cab getting back into that groove where they focus on the instrumentation and the atmosphere. The string section that comes in and the explosive feeling towards the end of the track is bone-chilling good. Kids in 99 is emotive and fantastic at telling a story. Man in Blue is kind of a good sad. It's a dark, tense EP in some ways. Before the Bombs has this relentlessly catchy guitar. Blue Blood's a great, longer closer. Overall, I'm loving the hell out of this. A strong 4.5. You guys have to hear this. Pop artist Halsey has a new single out, and to be quite honest, as much as I do get annoyed with her as a person, I think her music has made some slight improvements, although her last single, Nightmare, I made the mistake of reviewing it a little bit too early. I feel like it just became more and more irritating over time, but apparently that was a one-off single, so Without Me, that we probably have all heard at this point, and the new song Graveyard are going to be on the album, and Graveyard tinkers with more of an acoustic guitar sound. It also has a little bit of an expressive chorus. It's just kind of talking about relationships, a graveyard, everything. I mean, it's been done before in some ways, but it also kind of feels fresh to Halsey, so I don't mind this. So overall, I'd give it a 3.5, and I'd say that I'm curiously optimistic for her new album, Manic, next year. Quick recommendation for a band that I discovered from the UK called Ionica. It's called Don't Wait Till Tomorrow. It released in May of 2019. It wasn't on my radar at all, but I heard their song Rockstar, fell in love, and the rest of the record does not disappoint. There's a fire in this band, and I can feel it. It's like alternative rock meets a little bit of that pop tendency because the hooks are so relentless. Occasionally it does repeat itself a little bit, but that's not that much of a problem. It didn't distract me much at all, and it's easy to play top to bottom. I'd rate it a 4 out of 5, and I hope that maybe you guys will check it out if you've never heard of them before. Charlie Puth, oh boy, this man has definitely transformed himself and his image a lot in the past few years, and I have to say that it's kind of hard to see him taking himself so seriously at this point. I warned myself that you were with this guy overseas and whatever else, and it's just like, Charlie, you look like the nicest guy in the world, especially after seeing you in David Dobrik's vlogs. I don't know, this new song is okay. It's definitely not as good as some of the material that was on voice notes, but it's a hell of a lot better than 9-track Mind, so I'm feeling somewhere in the middle, light 3 for this one. The first time that I played through Poppy's new single Concrete, I was like, alright Poppy, I kind of see what you're doing here. You keep mixing it up with oh, we've got a heavy guitar, but a cutesy voice and everything like that. It's starting to get a little bit stale. But then I continued to listen to the song, and Concrete just piles itself onto you. This song gets better and better the more you listen. I love how it evolves. It does start off and it brings in some aggressive guitars, cutesy, low-key vocals in places, but the last third of this track is what I mainly want to focus on because that's when they bring the guitars together, but also the dark lyrics and the more cute voice because obviously it's Poppy. So yes, I'm really liking this song once again. Keep it up, Poppy. It's a 4. Unfortunately, we're closing things out on a bit more of a sour note. John Mayer has a new single out. It's called Carry Me Away, and the writing on this track is so lazy. It's just so like, oh, we're putting words together. You're a this, I'm a this. It just feels like, okay, if you really need your Jimmy's rustled that much for new folk pop, there's gotta be something else that you could turn to out there other than the new John Mayer. And that comes from somebody who really enjoys this guy, who has kind of helped deflect some of the criticism for him that a lot of people try to levy. I mean, I think he's a very skilled guitarist, especially with Dead & Company, but his recent solo output, it's left a lot to be desired. This is a light 2.5 from me. That's it for this episode of Rapid Reviews. Please take a second and hit that like button. Join the conversation in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Disagree on any of these? Let me know. And if you discovered anything from this episode, I would love to know. I love hearing about that because you guys discovering music that I cover on the channel, that's kind of the whole point of this for me. Anyways, thank you again for watching. If you have other suggestions for things that you'd like to see me cover on the next episode of Rapid Reviews, then sound off in the comments section. If you want to catch up on more episodes of Rapid Reviews, then tap right here or tap here for another recent review. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.